Good afternoon all. Welcome to the lecture of complex analysis. I am audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in last lecture we have seen what is a fixed point. Okay, let us define what is fixed point. Suppose there is a mapping F which is defined on some domain D to some our complex plane C infinity. Then what is a fixed point?
D.
Yes. Suppose there is one point Z belonging to our given domain D. In this point Z is said to be a fixed point whenever
F of Z equal to Z.
f of z equal to z, then z is said to be a fixed point. That is all those points in our given domain which coincides with our given function, that is transformation, which are called as the fixed points. Okay, so now there is one theorem. A Mobius map, yes, map is uniquely determined by its action on any three distinct points in C infinity. Distinct points in C infinity. C infinity means it is a complex plane. Okay, so here we have to prove that any Mobius map is uniquely determined by its action on any three distinct points of our given complex plane. That is, first we have to consider first we have to take any three distinct points belonging to our complex plane, and we will consider there are two mappings, that is S and T, which are mapping on same element. That is, suppose S and T are any two Mobius transformations such that S of Z1 will be equal to W1, S of Z2 W2, and S of Z3 will be equal to W3. That is, Z1, Z2 and Z3 are mapped on the W1, W2, W3 under the Mobius transformation. Yes, similarly T is another Mobius transformation having images are same as the transformation. Yes, that is, T of Z1 is mapped on W1, T of Z2 is mapped on W2, and T of Z3 and is mapped on W3. And by using the concepts of our Mobius transformation, we will prove that this S is nothing but the T. Then only we see that the any Mobius map is uniquely determined by its action on any three distinct points belonging to our complex plane. Okay, so let us take Z1, Z2, Z3 be any three distinct points in our complex plane. So to let Z1, Z2, Z3 be any three distinct points in C infinity. Now we will consider two Mobius transformation. Let S be a Mobius transformation. Let S be a Mobius transformation such that S of Z1 is mapped on W1, that is S of Z2 is some W2, and S of Z3 is W3. Okay, so here we have a Mobius transformation S and Z1, Z2, Z3 be elements of our complex plane Z, and under Mobius transformation S, Z1 is mapped on W1, Z2 is mapped on W2, Z3 is mapped on W3 in corresponding W plane. Okay, now if possible, suppose consider TB one more Mobius transformation having images are same as our transformation. Yes, so let T be any other Mobius map. Let T be any other Mobius map of transformation such that T of Z1 is W1, T of Z2 is W2, and T of Z3 is W3. Now, we know that every Mobius transformation has a unique inverse transformation. Okay, so as we know that every Mobius transformation has a inverse Mobius transformation. Every Mobius transformation has the inverse Mobius transformation. Okay, and we have proved this one. Since if S equal to AZ plus B upon CZ plus D is a Mobius transformation, when your AD minus BC is not equal to 0, then what is its inverse? S sub Z equal to AZ plus B upon CZ plus D is a Mobius transformation, then what is the S inverse of Z?
minus dz plus b upon cz minus
CZ
a.
minus A is the inverse of our given transformation. Yes. Okay, and that one is also holds the condition AD minus BC is not equal to 0. So our inverse transformation is also a Mobius transformation. So from that one, here we have written every Mobius transformation has a inverse Mobius transformation. Now as TV any our Mobius transformation, then it must has a inverse. Therefore, which implies T inverse of W1 is nothing but Z1, T inverse of W2 is nothing but Z2, and T inverse of W3 is nothing but Z3, which is by just the definition of inverse. Okay, so now as T inverse of W1 is equal to Z1, so that is, we can write this one as a Z1 as equal to T inverse of W1. Okay, which is equal to T inverse of. What is W1? From this one, W1 is nothing but, by first transformation, W1 is nothing but S of Z1. So S of Z1. Now it is a composition of two mapping, that is yes, T inverse and yes. Therefore, it is actually nothing but T inverse composite S of Z1. So here we get Z1 equal to T inverse composite S of Z1. Similarly, Z2 is equal to T inverse of W2, and W2 is nothing but S of element Z2. So it is nothing but T inverse composite S of Z2. And finally, Z3 nothing but T inverse of W3, where W3 is S of Z3. And these are the composition of two mappings, T inverse and S. Therefore, it is nothing but T inverse composite S of Z3. Okay. Now we know that T is a Mobius transformation. As T is a Mobius transformation, then its inverse is also Mobius transformation. Therefore, T inverse is Mobius transformation. S is also Mobius transformation, and we know that composition of two Mobius transformation is again a Mobius transformation. Yes. Okay, so composition of two Mobius transformation is again a Mobius transformation. Therefore, T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation. And here, under this transformation, T inverse composite S, T inverse composite S of Z1 will be Z1. T inverse composite S of Z2 will be, sorry, here Z2. T inverse composite S of Z2 is Z2. And T inverse composite S of Z3 is nothing but Z3. Then by the definition of fixed point, these three are the fixed points our given transformation T inverse composite S. So let us write here. As we know that composition of two Mobius transformation is again a Mobius transformation, is again a Mobius transformation, which implies T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation. Having three fixed points, that is Z1, Z2 and Z3. Since T inverse composite S of Z1 will be Z1, T inverse composite S of Z2 is Z2, and T inverse composite S of Z3 is again Z3. So T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation having three fixed points. But in previous lecture we have seen one note. What is this? If a Mobius transformation has more than two fixed points, then the Mobius transformation becomes a
Identity transformation.
identity transformation. As here T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation and having three fixed points, it means it must be a identity transformation. Since we know that if a Mobius transformation has more than two fixed points, then it becomes a identity transformation. Identity transformation. As here our given Mobius transformation T inverse composite S has three fixed points, then it must be a identity transformation, which implies T inverse composite S is equal to I. So which implies S is nothing but our, okay, so this will prove our uniqueness. So here we have assumed S and T be any two Mobius transformation, but by using some basic concepts of Mobius transformation, our actually S is nothing but T, and that one proves our uniqueness. Okay, कुणाला काही doubt यामध्ये?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now there is one more result. For given any three distinct points, Z1, Z2, Z3 in complex plane, that is C infinity plane, there exists a mapping, that is a Mobius transformation. There exists a unique Mobius transformation, yes, such that S of Z1 equal to 0, S of Z2 is equal to 1, and S of Z3 is equal to infinity. Okay, so here we have given three distinct points Z1, Z2, Z3 in our complex plane, and from that one we have to prove that there exists one unique Mobius transformation, yes, such that S of Z1 will be equal to 0, S of Z2 is equal to 1, and S of Z3 equal to infinity. इथे फर्स्ट आपल्याला फाइंड आउट करावं लागेल एक मोबियस ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन, आणि त्यानंतर आपल्याला प्रूव्ह करायचं आहे की ती तशी मोबियस ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन ही युनिकच असेल, म्हणजे दुसरी आपण जर अजून केलं तर ती फर्स्टलाच इक्वल असेल. ओके, सो फर्स्ट वी विल फाइंड आउट अ मोबियस ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन. सो सी इट्स प्रूव्ह. Given that Z1, Z2, Z3 be distinct points in C infinity. Let us take one constant k, let small k be any complex constant. Okay, now here we have to prove there exists one Mobius transformation. So for that we will define one function. Yes, let S be a function from C infinity to C infinity defined by S of Z is equal to k into Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z3. Okay, so here we have defined one function S, which is defined from C infinity to C infinity and which is defined by S of Z will be equal to K into Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z3, where K is any arbitrary complex constant. Now we will adjust this K in such a way that S of Z2 is equal to 1. So adjust the value of K, just the value of our K such that S of Z2 becomes 1. Okay, S of Z2 from given definition, that is star, S of Z2 is nothing but S of Z is equal to K into Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z3. So S of Z2 is nothing but K into Z2 minus Z1 divided by Z2 minus Z3, and which is equal to 1, which implies what is the value of K? K is equal to Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z2 minus Z1. Let us take this one as equation 1. Now put this value of K in equation star. Then S of Z becomes, put 1 in star. We get S of Z is equal to K is nothing but Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z2 minus Z1 into Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z3. Okay, now let us multiply these brackets. So we get Z2 into Z, that is Z2 minus of Z1 Z2 minus of Z3 plus Z1 Z3 divided by Z2 minus of Z2 Z3 minus of Z1 plus Z1 Z3. Okay, Z. Now let us take the terms of Z in one bracket, that is take Z common, we get Z into, here is Z and this one, that is Z2 minus Z3 plus Z1 Z3 minus of Z1 Z2 divided by, again Z common, here is Z2 minus Z1 plus Z1 Z3 minus of Z2 Z3. Okay, so here S of Z is this one. Now, so S of Z is of the form AZ plus B upon CZ plus D, where S of where A is nothing but where small a is equal to this one, Z2 minus Z3, B equal to Z1 minus, sorry, Z1 Z3 minus Z1 Z2, C equal to Z2 minus Z1, and D is equal to Z1 Z3 minus of Z2 Z3. Okay, so these are the values of our constants A, B, C, D. Okay, now our given function S is of the form AZ plus B upon CZ plus D. So for that, if S of Z is said to be a Mobius transformation if it is of this form and it holds the condition AD minus BC is not equal to 0. So it remains to prove that, or remains to check whether AD minus BC is non-zero or 0. If AD minus BC is not equal to 0, then the corresponding mapping S of Z is a Mobius transformation, otherwise it is not a Mobius transformation. So for that, let us consider AD minus BC, which is equal to A is nothing but Z2 minus Z3 into B, Z1 Z3 minus of Z1 Z2 plus B into C. B into C is nothing but B, sorry, I think Z1 Z3 minus Z2 Z3. Z2 Z3 minus of B into C. B becomes Z1 Z3 minus of Z1 Z2 into C is Z2 minus Z1. Now, which is equal to Z1 Z2 Z3 minus of Z2 square Z3 minus of Z1 Z3 square minus minus plus Z2 Z3 square minus into bracket Z2 plus Z1 Z2 Z3 minus of Z1 Z2 square minus of Z1 square Z3 plus Z1 square Z2. Okay, so which is equal to this Z1 Z2 Z3 Z1 Z2 Z3 gets cancelled. Z1 Z2 square Z3 Z1 square Z2. So remaining terms as it is, which is nothing but Z2 Z3 square. If you take the Z3 square, it will be common here. Then it is nothing but Z3 square into Z2 minus of Z1. If we take Z2 square common plus Z2 square, this minus, which is plus Z2 square, Z1 minus Z2 plus, there is something will be Z1, Z2 square will be common, then it is nothing but Z1 minus Z3 plus Z1 square will be common, then Z2, sorry, this will be a minus term, and this will be minus of minus plus Z1 square common, then it is nothing but Z3 minus of Z2. Okay, so which is nothing but Z1 square into Z3 minus Z2 plus Z2 square into Z1 minus Z3 and plus Z3 square into Z2 minus Z1. Now, but we know that our given 3 points Z1, Z2, Z3 are distinct. Okay, जर 0 असेल कोणता पॉइंट तर तो कुठला तरी एकच असेल. ठीक आहे, ही पहिली गोष्ट नॉन झिरो साठी चेक करू. जर नॉन झिरो साठी चेक केला तर ऑब्विसली Z1 स्क्वेअर Z2 स्क्वेअर Z3 स्क्वेअर हा काहीतरी पॉझिटिव्ह नंबर मिळेल आणि यामधला कोणताही पॉईंट एकमेकांच्या इक्वल नाहीये. म्हणजे Z1 Z2 Z3 हे माझे डिस्टिंक्ट पॉईंट आहेत. तर माझा Z1 Z3 मायनस Z2 हा 0 येणार नाही, Z1 मायनस Z3 0 येणार नाही, आणखी Z2 मायनस Z1 ही 0 येणार. इथं तरी सम आहे आणि बाकीचे राहिलेले Z1 स्क्वेअर Z2 स्क्वेअर Z3 स्क्वेअर हे ऑलवेज पॉझिटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू देतील जर ते नॉन झिरो असतील. ओके, म्हणजे त्या केसमध्ये तर हा 0 होणं पॉसिबल नाही. आता केस राहिली ती फक्त अशी की ज्यामध्ये एखादा पॉईंट 0 असू शकतो, कारण Z1 Z2 Z3 हा हे 3 डिस्टिंक्ट पॉईंट आहे. त्याचा अर्थ एक पॉईंट कमीत कमी जर 0 असू शकतो. जरी Z1 हा 0 असला तरी बाकीच्या ठिकाणी कुठेही मला 0 मिळणार नाही. ठीक आहे, सिमिलरली फॉर Z2 अँड ऑल्सो फॉर Z3. सो ED minus BC is always non-zero, which implies ED minus BC is always not equal to 0 since Z1, Z2, Z3 are distinct points in C infinity. Distinct points in C infinity. कुणाला काही डाऊट यामध्ये? ED minus BC not equal to 0. Okay, so here we get ED minus BC is not equal to 0 and our given mapping S of Z is in this form, that is AZ plus B upon CZ plus D. Then by the definition of Mobius transformation, S of Z is a Mobius transformation. Therefore, S of Z is equal to Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3 into Z2 minus Z1 is a Mobius transformation. Mobius transformation. So here we get a Mobius transformation, but we have to check whether it holds this condition, that is S of Z1 will be equal to 0, S of Z2 will be equal to 1 and S of Z3 is equal to infinity. Now from this one, S of Z1, if we put Z equal to Z1, then Z1 minus Z1 is 0 and 0 upon any non-zero number will be always 0. So here S of Z1 is equal to 0. S of Z2. If we put Z equal to Z2, then it is nothing but Z2 minus Z1 divided by this Z2 minus Z1, Z2 minus Z1 get cancelled. And it is nothing but Z2 minus Z3. Therefore, Z2 minus Z3, Z2 minus Z3 get cancelled. So here we get S of Z2 is 1. And if Z will be equal to Z3, then here Z3 minus Z3, Z3 minus Z3 0, 1 upon 0, sorry, anything upon 0 is always infinity. Okay, so S of Z3 is equal to infinity. So here we get a Mobius transformation S of Z which holds this condition, that is S of Z1 will be equal to 0, S of Z2 equal to 1 and S of Z3 is equal to infinity. So here we get a Mobius transformation, but now we have to prove that it's a uniqueness. But this will be a condition whenever Z1, Z2, Z3 are not infinity. If possible, suppose that either Z1, Z2 or Z3 is infinity. If possible, suppose that if Z1 is tending towards the infinity, then S of Z becomes limit Z1 tending to infinity, our given function, Z minus Z1, Z2 minus Z3, Z minus Z3 and Z2 minus Z1. Okay, but here our Z1 is tending towards infinity, therefore it can be written as limit as Z1 tending to infinity. Let us take Z1 common from first bracket. So here we get Z1, Z upon Z1 minus of 1, Z2 minus Z3 divided by, and Z1 common from second bracket. So here Z1 common, then it becomes Z2 upon Z1 minus of 1 into Z minus Z3. This Z1 get cancelled, and as Z1 tending towards infinity, this Z upon infinity becomes 0, 0 minus 1 minus 1, and similarly as Z1 tending to infinity, Z2 upon Z1, that is infinity, which is again 0, and 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Minus 1 minus 1 get cancelled, so our given function will be Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3 whenever Z1 is tending towards infinity. जर Z1 माझा infinity कडे जात असेल तर S of Z काय असेल, हा असेल Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3. Similarly, if suppose Z2 is tending towards infinity, if Z2 is tending towards infinity, then S of Z is nothing but limit Z2 tending to infinity, Z minus Z1, Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3 into Z2 minus Z1. Now just we have to take Z2 common from both numerator and denominator, then we get limit Z2 tending to infinity. Now Z2 common, then it becomes 1 minus Z3 divided by Z2 into Z minus Z1 divided by Z2 common, then it becomes 1 minus Z1 divided by Z2 into Z minus Z3, which is equal to, now Z2 get cancelled. As Z2 ending towards infinity, Z3 upon Z2 and Z1 upon Z2 both are 0. So here we get 1 and 1. So our given function becomes Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z3. Okay. Now the last one, similarly, if Z3 tending towards infinity, then we get S of Z is equal to, okay, so as our S of Z will be this one. If Z3 tending towards infinity, then we will take a common Z3 from this bracket, then it is nothing but Z2 upon Z3 minus of 1 and Z3 common from this bracket. So it becomes Z upon Z3 minus of 1. Z upon Z3 becomes 0 whenever Z3 tending towards infinity. Similarly, Z2 upon Z3 becomes 0. So these two brackets get cancelled, that is minus 1 minus 1, and our given function will be Z minus Z1 divided by Z2 minus Z1. Z minus Z1, sorry, Z minus Z1 divided by Z2 minus Z1. So from that one, S of Z is equal to Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3 if Z1 tending towards infinity, which is equal to z minus z1 divided by z minus z3 whenever z2 tending towards infinity, and it is equal to z minus z1 divided by z2 minus z1 if z3 tending towards infinity. Okay, so these are the possible cases for our given Mobius transformation S of Z. If all are finite, then S of Z is nothing but this one, that is Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z minus Z3 into Z2 minus Z1. If Z1 is tending towards infinity, then first one is Z2 tending to infinity, then the second one, and if Z3 is tending towards infinity, then the last one. So take this one as double star. Okay, so S of Z is defined by either star or double star, either star or double star. Okay, so here we get a Mobius transformation. Now we will prove its uniqueness. Now it remains to prove that the uniqueness of S of Z. S of Z. So as here, S of Z is a Mobius transformation, and it holds the condition that is S of Z1 will be equal to 0, S of Z2 is 1, S of Z3 is infinity. Okay, now let us consider T be any other Mobius transformation which holds this condition. Let T be any other Mobius transformation such that T of Z1 equal to 0, T of Z2 equal to 1, and T of Z3 is equal to infinity. Now we have to use the same method as we have used in last example. Okay, now as T is a Mobius transformation, then its inverse Mobius transformation is also possible. Okay, so which implies T inverse of 0 is nothing but Z1, T inverse of 1 is nothing but Z2, and T inverse of infinity is nothing but Z3. Now just put the values of Z1, sorry, 0, as Z1 is equal to T inverse of 0, and 0 is nothing but S of Z1. So it is nothing but T inverse composite S of Z1. Similarly, Z2 equal to T inverse of 1, which implies this is nothing but T inverse composite S of Z2. And Z3 is nothing but T inverse of infinity, and which is equal to T inverse composite S of Z3. So now, as S and T inverse both are Mobius transformation, then T inverse composite S is again a Mobius transformation. Since composition of Mobius transformation is again a Mobius transformation, so T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation having again 3 fixed points, that is Z1, Z2, Z3, which implies T inverse composite S is a Mobius transformation having 3 fixed points. Z1, Z2 and Z3. Then by the result, if a Mobius transformation has more than 2 fixed points, then it becomes a identity transformation, which implies T inverse composite S equal to identity. So if we apply a transformation T, then we get P is equal to S, and this proves the uniqueness. Uniqueness, and hence the okay. कुणाल काही डाउट यामध्ये?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, the next concept is nothing but the cross ratio. Cross ratio. Okay. Let Z1, Z2, Z3, and Z4. Let Z1, Z2, Z3, and Z4 be any 4 points in complex plane. So points in complex plane then their cross ratio is denoted by an ordered pair Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 and is defined as Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 is equal to okay. So this will be our cross ratio. If we have 4 points Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 in complex plane, then its cross ratio is denoted by the ordered pair Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 and it is defined by Z2 minus Z3 into Z4 minus Z1 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z4 if none of Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 is infinity. Okay, जर चारीपैकी एक ही जर माझा इन्फिनिटी नसेल तर माझा करस्पॉन्डिंग त्या 4 पॉइंटचा क्रॉस रेशो काय असेल तर हा फंक्शन हा ही टर्म असेल. ओके, जर इन्फिनिटी नसतील तर कोणीही. ओके, so it is called a cross ratio of these 4 points Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 and if possible suppose that Z1 is tending towards infinity, then say we have to use the same method as we have used in last theorem. That is, if Z1 is tending towards infinity, then we have to take the common Z1 from this second bracket and the denominator's first bracket, then we get some Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z3 minus Z4. Similarly, for if Z2 is tending towards infinity, then we have to take Z2 from numerator and denominator common, and from cancellation we get some function of remaining terms. Okay, so if possible, let us consider this one. If Z1 is tending towards infinity, then this cross ratio becomes Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 is equal. If we take Z1 common from this bracket, then it becomes Z4 upon Z1 minus 1. And similarly, if we take a Z1 common from this second bracket, then it is nothing but 1 minus Z2 upon Z1. So Z1 minus Z2, Z2 minus Z3, Z3 minus Z4 and Z4 minus Z1. We take a Z1 common, then it becomes Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z3 minus Z4. I think there is a negative sign. Z4 minus Z1, then it is Z4 upon Z1. Z1 is tending towards infinity, then it is 0. 0 minus 1. Then it is, instead of Z2 minus Z3, it becomes Z3 minus Z2. Okay, and if Z2 is tending towards infinity, if Z2 is tending towards infinity, then Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 becomes, that is cross ratio becomes this one. Z2 is tending towards the infinity, then again it is Z1 minus Z4 divided by Z3 minus Z4. Z1 minus Z4 divided by Z3 minus Z4. Similarly, we can find out for Z3 and Z4 also. If Z3 is tending towards infinity and Z4 is tending towards infinity, then we have to take the common from, if Z3 is tending towards infinity, then take common Z3 from numerator and denominator and cancel it, and finally we will get a function of remaining terms, whatever it will be, Z1, Z2, Z3 or Z4. Okay, so this will be a cross ratio of 4 points Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 which are belonging to our complex plane C infinity. Okay, now हा माझा दिलेला फंक्शन हा क्रॉस रेशो असेल, पण हे लक्षात कसं ठेवणार? ओके, सो फर्स्ट हियर वी हॅव टू टेक दिस Z1 minus Z2, okay, and Z3 minus Z4. Here we have to take Z2 minus Z3 and finally Z4 minus Z1. ओके, जे खालच्या साईडला ॲरो आपण डिनोट केलाय ना ते टर्म आपल्याला घ्यायचे खाली डिनॉमिनेटरला, Z1 minus Z2 इंटू Z3 minus Z4, आणि जे आपण अप्पर साईडला ॲरोने डिनोट केले ते टर्म घ्यायचे आहेत आपल्याला न्यूमरेटरला, Z2 minus Z3 इंटू Z4 minus Z1. ओके, असं तुम्ही लक्षात ठेवू शकता दिलेला फंक्शन हा कसा लक्षात राहील. Okay, so this one is nothing but the cross ratio of 4 points Z1, Z2 and Z3 and Z4. Okay, now there is one more definition of this one. If the bilinear transformation transforms the points Z1, Z2, Z3 in Z plane into the points W1, W2, W3 in complex plane, that is in W plane, then the mapping which is defined by W minus W1 divided by W1 minus W2 W plane, then W minus W1 divided by W1 minus W2 into W2 minus W3 divided by W3 minus of W, and which is equal to Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z. ओके, जर माझ्याकडे माझे तीन पॉईंट असतील Z1, Z2, Z3 जे की Z प्लेन मध्ये, आणि ते पॉईंट जर माझे मॅप होत असतील W प्लेन मधल्या 3 पॉईंटशी W1, W2, W3 under the given bilinear transformation, then if it holds this condition, that is W minus W1, W2 minus W3 divided by W1 minus W2 into W3 minus W is equal to Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z, then we say that it will be a cross ratio of our given point Z1, Z2, Z3 in Z plane. Okay, याच हे तुम्ही प्रूव्ह ही करू शकता. ओके, जस्ट वी हॅव टू टेक W equal to sum PZ plus B upon CZ plus D. Okay, and from that one we have to find out W1, W2 and W3. Since W1, W2 and W3 are the images of our points Z1, Z2, Z3, then for W1 it becomes Z1, since W1 is the image of Z1 under the our given bilinear transformation. Similarly, W2 and W3 are the images of our points Z2 and Z3, then it becomes W1 will be equal to AZ1 plus B divided by CZ1 plus D, W2 equal to AZ2 plus B upon CZ2 plus D, and W3 is equal to AZ3 plus B upon CZ3 plus D. And from that one we have to find out these values, that is W1 minus W1, W2 minus W3, W1 minus W2 and W3 minus W, and just put out that values in this one, then we get the corresponding RHS, and if we get the RHS, then only we see that the corresponding points are, corresponding ratio will be a cross ratio of our given points, otherwise it is not a cross ratio. Okay, कुणाला काही डाउट डेफिनेशन मध्ये?
नो सर. नो सर.
तर आपण फाइंड आउट करू इच्छित 10 मिनिटात होईल का? ठीक आहे. W1 is equal to AZ1 plus B divided by CZ1 plus D. Similarly, W2 equal to AZ2 plus B divided by CZ2 plus D, and W3 equal to AZ3. Sorry, W3 equal to AZ3 plus B divided by CZ3 plus D. Now let us find out one by one this term, W minus W1. Now consider W minus W1, which is equal to W is AZ plus B divided by CZ plus D minus of W1, which is nothing but AZ1 plus B divided by CZ1 plus D. Now by taking the LCM, we get this one AZ plus B into CZ1 plus D minus of AZ1 plus B into CZ plus D and divided by CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D. CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D. Now let us solve the numerator. We get ACZZ1, ACZZ1, ADZ plus ADZ plus BCZ1 plus BD. Okay, minus of now this one ACZZ1, ADZ1, ADZ1 plus BCZ plus BD and divided by CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D. Now this ACZZ1, ACZ1 plus minus get cancelled. Similarly, plus BD minus BD get cancelled. So which is equal to AD. Now let us take AD common from these two terms, that is ADZ plus ADZ minus ADZ1, Z1. Then if we take AD common, then it becomes Z minus Z1. Similarly, if we take BC common, plus BC into Z1 minus Z divided by CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D. Okay, so which is equal to, now this will be a Z minus Z1. If we make this one as a Z minus Z1, then we get a minus 1 common. Therefore, we get AD minus BC into Z minus Z1. Z minus Z1 divided by CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D. So this will be W minus W1. Now we have to find out the W1 minus W2. Again, consider W1 minus W2. In denominator, we get the same terms. Sorry. In denominator, we get, as here we have solving for Z and Z1. So here we get Z and Z1. If we solving for W1, W2, then we get Z1 and Z2 in denominator and corresponding changes in our numerator also. That is, for W1 minus W2, we get AD minus BC into, here for W and W1, our given pre-images in a Z plane are Z and Z1. Okay, so here as we are taking W1 and W2, then its pre-images are Z1 and Z2. Then it becomes Z is nothing but Z1 minus of Z2 divided by, here Z is nothing but Z1. Therefore, CZ1 plus D into CZ2 plus D. Similarly, W2 minus W3 equal to AD minus BC into W, that is Z2 minus Z3 divided by CZ2 plus D into CZ3 plus D. And W3 minus W is equal to AD minus BC into Z3 minus Z divided by CZ3 plus D into CZ plus D. Okay, now just put that value in our LHS. So consider the LHS. Consider LHS is equal to, which is nothing but W minus W1 in divided by W1 minus W2 into W2 minus W3 divided by W3 minus W. Just put these values, then it becomes W minus W1. W minus W1 is nothing but Z minus Z1 into AD minus BC divided by CZ plus D, CZ plus D into CZ1 plus D into this one W2 minus W3. W2 minus W3 is nothing but Z2 minus Z3 into AD minus BC divided by, sorry, Z2 minus Z3, CZ2 plus D into CZ3 plus D, and whole divided by W1 minus W2. W1 minus W2 is nothing but Z1 minus Z2 into AD minus BC divided by CZ1 plus D into CZ2 plus D, and into last one W3 minus W, and which is nothing but Z3 minus Z into AD minus BC, and is divided by CZ3 plus D into CZ plus D. Okay, so now this AD minus BC, this AD minus BC get cancelled. This AD minus BC, this AD minus BC get cancelled. Okay. Similarly, now here Z2 minus Z3. Here Z1 minus Z2, Z minus Z1, Z3 minus Z. Now this CZ plus D, this CZ plus D, this CZ plus D get cancelled. CZ1 plus D, CZ1 plus D get cancelled. CZ2 plus D, CZ2 plus D get cancelled. CZ3 plus D, CZ3 plus D get cancelled. So finally here we are with terms Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z2. Okay, so this will be our LHS, and this Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z is nothing but our RHS of our given cross ratio. Let us check. Here is our, that is this one, Z minus Z1 into Z2 minus Z3 divided by Z1 minus Z2 into Z3 minus Z, and that one is here. Okay, ठीक है, कुणाल काही डाउट?
No, sir.
Okay.